do you have?
I'm
not giving you a thumbs up right now.
I pulled out a set that I've had for a really long time, and I just had it in my cupboards, and I haven't showed you it.
So this is a new teacup I've never seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So excited. Oh my goodness. How cozy is that? It's beautiful.
I have an entire set of this.
Can I just say that that set does not fit where you live?
It doesn't. Not even
I
a little
feel like
bit.
you need to live in like the cozy, like mountainy type rural setting to be able to have that. So I feel like I should confiscate that from you until you live,
Ooh.
you know, somewhere like out here. Just saying.
I'm a family friend gave us this set when my daughters were little inky dinkies, because I mentioned having tea parties with them, and they were like, oh, I have this entire set. It was like my grandmother's or blah, blah, blah. And they came by and they gave us the entire set. It has like square cookie plates, and they're super cool. I love it when they have the square plates and then the round plates. It's so unique. So we have a full set of these, and I found them up in my cupboard and was like, oh, this is exactly perfect.
That is, this one I found at the thrift store just the other day.
That's lovely.
And it was a very dinged up set. And see the flowers inside? It was a very dinged up set, but it was so pretty. I was like, well, I'm just going to buy at least just one cup because it was so cute. Like, how do you not? And then I did bring in the whole honcho with me today because I think I'm going to need it. So I did bring in everything. Anyways, everybody grab a teacup or a coffee cup or a something lovely that you want to sit down and enjoy for a chatty coffee date. And before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to Helen because I thought this was so incredibly sweet. Helen sent me this beautiful little card, and inside of it, because she knows how much I love the lovelies, it's a set of handmade designed cards with teapots and teacups. So it's a whole set of stationery. And I was like,
so sweet.
Right. And how cute. Like, look at all the little lovelies. So, Helen, thank you. I was super duper excited and had to bring it in to show you guys because we just got it in the mail. And I was like, oh, look how beautiful these are.
That's adorable.
That was my happy mail for the day. Gotta love getting happy mail. That's why I actually, for those in our membership group, we do our snail mail packs for certain members. And I need to work on the next round of goodies of what we're going to put in there. And I know we talked about some fun things. So I'm excited to get working on that and finding fun. I don't know. There's just something about when you get something in the mail that is just fun.
Is not a bill.
It's not a bill. It's
because
not
we're all adults, and that's all you ever get in the mail nowadays is bills and like county notices that they're going to have event like
and it's fun to get like stuff you've ordered, but it's more fun to get stuff that like you didn't order. It's just like a fun, like, ooh, like exciting.
What's this?
I know.
Ooh, that's always the best.
Oh, I love sending out that stuff. So I am all cozied up because it has been super chilly here this week. Just saying. It's not that way in certain places, but it is that way here. It feels like fall. The colors of the foliage are just gorgeous. And it's been like rainy all morning and cozy. So I'm in like my sweater and tee and just, you know, enticing you to be jealous and want to move to the East Coast. Just saying.
It's been 95 this week.
That's awful. That's awful. Should not be 95 degrees in October.
No, it shouldn't, but it is. It's just where we live.
I don't miss that. So I know we have some great questions. And before we get going into today, friends, we just want to invite you to always feel free to ask questions. We love doing these chatty coffee dates with you all and getting to answer questions and to share. So you guys, whenever on any video, you just leave that little coffee cup emoji. So that way we know that you have a question you want to see answered. And we're super happy to do that. It can be about anything. We kind of get a wide bag of questions on here, and Sabrina just collects them and pulls them. So I don't know which questions she's going to be asking in each episode, but I think that makes it super fun. And next week, I want to do a Halloween specific chatty coffee date. We know that time of the year is coming up. I've been sharing videos that we've done about this, talking about, kind of how we approach Halloween as Christians. I know that causes a lot of like, well, why, or what about, or this or that, or, I know that can stir up a lot of things. So if you have a question about partaking in Halloween or kind of anything along those lines that you would like to ask, we will tackle all of those questions next week. So you can leave a comment down below and let us know, or on anything throughout the week. We'll gather all of those questions and answer those next Saturday for that chatty coffee date. But I just wanted to let you guys know before we got started this week, what are our questions for this week, Miss Sabrina? Oh, you're on mute. But I wasn't looking at the screen. Sorry, I was drinking my tea.
As I grab my mouse to unmute myself, I click it, and I clicked it, but my mouse died. So I'm using a dead mouse. Nothing's happening, but I thought the computer...
That makes sense.
Okay. I've now gathered myself.
Retake. Pretend like I'm someone who edits all the things and all of this looks great, but I'm not.
Do you participate in any holidays still? Like any?
I'm trying to think. Our daughters love cute stuff that comes out around Valentine's Day, but we've never been like Valentine's Day people, let alone all the stuff that, like, when you dig into it and all the other things, like, that's just never been us really anyways. And so my mother-in-law would always buy the girls all the cutesy things. Like, everything's just cute around Valentine's Day, honestly. Like, they put out the cutest things. And so my mother-in-law would always buy them just cute stuff. And so she's no longer living here with us, and she's not doing so well. And so it kind of just became the girls, after she had moved out. They were like, well, the point is that we should be loving our neighbors, and that's something that we do all the time. So, like, can we have make our own family celebration of like loving our neighbors, and like do all the cute fun things, and we can host like a tea party, and we even involve like the church in it. And like we just had like Love Your Neighbor Day, and it usually doesn't even fall like on Valentine's Day. It just kind of falls on like whenever we can fit it into our schedule, but we usually end up collecting the cute things that come out. So like, I know we've had people on YouTube before accuse us that we are still partaking in Valentine's Day, and that's wrong. But I'm like, okay, I understand. And if that's an issue for you, stay away from that. But like, I don't really think we are. Not that it matters if you want to do Valentine's Day. That's between you, like, do Valentine's Day, whatever. But so like, I guess that one could kind of be viewed as that, even though to us that's not what it is, because it's just a gathering to love on people. I guess, kind of, I have always been willing to host stuff if that meant the family still gathering and getting together. And so up until the past year, we didn't do it last year. I can't remember if we did it the year before, but I would still host a huge Thanksgiving meal for my husband's family. My husband's family is not a close family. They do not get together. It's really, really heartbreaking to see how that all works out. But every once in a while, they will, I think especially with their mom not doing well, they started to get a little more like, hey, we should, gather and do something. And so I was happy to host. If there's any opportunity, our home is always open. And if there's an opportunity that people will come and gather, I will cook, I will feed you, I will pull open everything. My home is your home, come stay. Like, we're just that type of people. So I've definitely hosted many Thanksgiving meals. I'm usually the Thanksgiving meal host because people have time off and will actually come and gather. And I think that's quite amazing. And so our home is always open for that. Thanksgiving is one that I look forward to because my husband hates turkey. He hates turkey. Like, turkey is not allowed in our house. We do not consume turkey because he hates it so much. And he gets like he's very anti-turkey, which is funny because we raise turkeys and we love turkeys. And he's like, see, turkeys are amazing. They really are amazing. And so I don't know how else to say it other than my husband's very anti-eating turkey. Turkey covered in homemade cranberry sauce is like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And so our agreement has always been that I get one day a year where I can make turkey. And so for me, and I'm the only one really in my house who eats it. My kids eat frozen pizza. They watch Freebirds and eat frozen pizza. That's like their Thanksgiving tradition. So it's really just me. And like, I have one kid that will like kind of eat it, but I'm really the only one who cares. So I usually just get like a little singular turkey breast if it's just us, and I cook it for myself and eat it covered in homemade cranberry sauce.
I was imagining you making a giant turkey, like for
I can't eat that much.
But then you're just like, oh, it's just me. But then I know how much you can eat.
I can eat a lot. Right.
Maybe
I probably could put a good dent in a turkey by myself, and I will eat the leftovers until they run out. Like I'll eat them probably past the point that we should be eating them. Like, I am that person because I eat a lot. Yes, that is fair.
Sorry.
If people are coming over, I do make a whole big turkey. Last year, and maybe the year before, I can't remember if anybody came that year. I was like, all right, I'll just make a tiny little thing for myself. So I guess you could say that kind of celebrate Thanksgiving because I hosted. If people will come over, I will host anything, anytime, any whatever. But other than that, I mean, those are the only kind of like cultural things that we partake in. We're not 4th of July people. Obviously not Christmas people, not Halloween people. I think New Year's is stupid. We don't do anything with that. It's probably, I mean, it just, yeah, that's all that we do as far as like secular things.
I'm like going through the holidays in my head.
Right now, I'm like trying to like.
I mean, you do have your own family traditions, but those are not. Those are different than the secular holiday American holidays. They're not secular, I guess. They're American holidays because that's where we live. Mm-hmm. So that's what our society celebrates.
Yeah.
I do know you celebrate Thanksgiving, but you are all about anytime anybody will come over and gather. Yes. So it doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday. It doesn't matter if it's the 15th Thursday of the month. It doesn't matter. Like, no.
If there's an opportunity, yes, that people will come and gather. I will cook, I will bake, I will roll out the red carpet. You can stay in my home. Like, anytime we can do that, we do that. And if it means that people have time off because it's Thanksgiving and they'll come and stay for a few days, it sounds great. I don't care. Let's get together. Let's pour into one another. Like, that's great.
I love that you said that because people do happen to have that time off. Mm-hmm. And so they're more available to then gather. And you're like, I have a home. I got some space. Come do it in my house.
Yep.
Gather here. Yay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All about gathering, less about the holidays.
Yeah. And I don't think just because we don't partake in the holidays, we should then refuse to gather. We'll host.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Right. Because I'm not going to partake in Christmas. I don't believe in it. Like, I don't want anything to do with it. But if there's still an opportunity to gather with loved ones, absolutely. I'm going to come and gather with loved ones. Like, they're not doing, I'm not going to go partake in sin for the sake of gathering. Right. Like, obviously. But just because I can't reconcile that biblically doesn't mean I'm not going to have fellowship with you or, whatever. And our kids all feel the same way. I mean, we're happy to gather in any instance that somebody, I think, especially in this day and age and how spread apart so many families are, if people are actually willing to prioritize one another and come together, absolutely. I'm also not going to subject myself or my children to gatherings that don't build up and edify. So I know that's another big one that we'll probably get into more later, but there would be many family members on my list that sure, they're family, but there's no good that comes out of gathering with them. They do not love the Lord. This is not I'm not going to go and subject myself or my children to situations like that for the sake of family. I would definitely say we spend far more time with our church family than we do with, blood family. But I think that's another line too of, yeah, I want to gather anytime we can gather, but I'm also not going to go and subject us and our kids to toxic situations just because it's a family gathering. So, like, yeah, I'll go and gather regardless of when it is, but I'm also not going to force us to go and gather to something that we shouldn't. We don't need to be at that, even if it's a holiday or a something or whatever.
No, that makes sense.
And that's okay. You can choose to do that. I know it's hard. That's a big question we get from people a lot. And it's like, how do you? And I'm like, no, I get it's difficult. I get it. But you can still.
But you don't understand. Well,
I do. I promise. I will say that on a recent trip, the only vacation our family has ever taken out to California, where my children were introduced to my family, a portion of my family, their eyes about jumped out of their heads and they went, "Are you serious right now?" And I said, "Yes, this is what I grew up with. See why we live on the other side of the country? It's okay. It's happy to see, but we don't have to go and subject ourselves to that just because." And our kids were like, "I get it now. I know we've talked about it and you've told us things." And we're like, "Mom, the stories are kind of far-fetched." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And then you saw it and you went, "Oh, okay. Okay."
Okay.
I hope that answers the question. I know I got a little sidetracked there.
No, I think it totally answers the question because holidays mean different. The word holiday means something different to different people. And you covered tradition. You covered family gatherings. You covered like lots of the little pieces of it. So I think that was a really round answer.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. So this one's much longer in question format. God's got it. I fully agree with this statement, but I have some confusion as where the line is between not being afraid about that our needs are being met and being irresponsible. When you say you have less than $1 in your bank account, but you have a family to feed, and then you shrug and say, God will take care of it. Where is the line here with treating God like a genie in a bottle?
Mm-hmm.
Is it overlapping with the prosperity gospel?
Yeah.
Yes, God says not to worry, but he doesn't say not to plan for very expensive emergencies like car accidents or weather that wipes out your home or chronic illness, as well as retirement. He does all things for his glorification and his kingdom. But there are believers who he doesn't rescue from death, from homelessness, disease, suffering, starvation. I fully trust that I fully trust that everything I go through is for the kingdom's good. But I also have insurance and retirement savings. Of course, I'm fully aware of that my country is different. So that's the whole context. The questions that I got out of it were, where is the line between God's got it and God needs me to do something because I have a family to feed and I can't treat God like a genie in a bottle?
Mm-hmm.
And then, is this overlapping with the prosperity gospel?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think it's important to remember, I was trying to find it real quick. I was trying to Google. There's many scriptural references that we can pull back to this. Yes, there's one thing to be prudent, to be smart, to be wise, to use what you have appropriately. Absolutely. But then we also can go into things like Proverbs 27:1 that says, don't boast about your plans for tomorrow. Like, you don't even know what tomorrow's going to bring. You have no clue. Only a fool, we're told in scripture, thinks that they've got it planned out and mapped out, right? And there's a balance to that because, yes, I can purchase something of quality, going, oh, this should last longer, work better, be a better purchase, right? But then there's also, I've got it all planned out. This is everything I'm going to have. I'm building extra storehouses to hold all of my stuff, and I'm going to keep all of my stuff together. I'm my provider. I've got it all under control, right? What did Jesus say? Yeah, well, then guess what? Storehouses get destroyed. They go up in flames, and you've got nothing. What you going to do now? So I think that's the big balance between it. George Mueller was one of my favorite examples. We should have on every YouTube video that I mentioned George Mueller, like a little head that pops up that's like, bing. I love George Mueller. And if you've never looked into him and his study, I think you absolutely need to. It's probably one I should do in a video one day or something. Because I don't think I've ever actually done like a George Mueller specific something. I think I just talk about it a lot.
You should absolutely do something on George Mueller, because you do reference him so very often. And then when people ask, we could reference that back again, because you reference him and you use his philosophies so often that you should. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's see, because you're right. It's a lot of questions. I'm trying to figure out like what one answers first. There's being wise with what the Lord gives us, but it's understanding that nothing is ours. It's all his, and we are just stewards. So whether I have $1 in my bank account or $1 million in my bank account, my job is still the same, and that's to be a good steward. God promises us that he will give us today what we need today, and that when we work as unto him, and he will provide. Now, sometimes those provisions don't look like what I think they should look like, but he knows, and I trust him. So that's that difference in saying right now, I don't know what I have. Let's look and see. Just for sake of argument here. I have currently, if my app will load, I have 86 cents in my bank account. And in our second account, there is $7.18. So we have, less than $10 in our stuff. And in our emergency fund savings account, there is 83 cents. So that's what I currently have in my account. Okay. That doesn't worry me in the slightest. It doesn't, because our needs will be met. And the Lord will open that up and bring that about in whatever way brings him glory. Now, if I was treating him like a genie in the bottle, I would go, where's my new car? Where's my fixed heating unit? Where's my, right? Like I could start going off with my list of like, I need these things. And I think any normal Western world person would be like, you don't have a car, you don't have a working heat, you don't have the right. Like you'd start going off with all the things of like, how do you not have those things? Well, we have what we have, and we have what our needs are being met. We're able to make it work, and everything's fine. I maybe at a time would have thought that I was still in need, but now I know that the Lord truly does provide. And so while it may not look like what you think it should look like, I know our needs are met, and it's okay. And so I know that every day my husband and I wake up and we work our hearts out every day. What does the Lord need from me? We have been counseling this morning. We have been planning this morning. We have been discussing, like we've already tackled a whole world of things privately before coming on and doing this. And then I'll go and do other things after this. So I work for the Lord. Am I getting paid to sit here and do this? No. I mean, I'll make however much I make off of AdSense from it, but it's not going to like pay the bills just by itself, right? Of all the hours of work I've put in already today, paid me? Absolutely not. We don't charge people to counsel. We don't charge people to, like absolutely not. That's not how it works. But God will provide, and he'll open things up, and things will work the way that bring him glory. And I know that, and I trust that. And so I continue in to do what it is. Now, there's nothing wrong with having some savings. There's nothing wrong with investing. There's nothing wrong with owning businesses. There's nothing wrong with having a retirement plan. There's nothing necessarily wrong with any of those things. What's wrong is when we think that that's where our safety and security and provisions come from, because it's not. We, when we're professing Christians, we are just stewards of what the Lord entrusts to us, be it materially, be it financially, be it with whatever it is. We're just stewards. And so the problem is when I start going, well, I have to have money in my bank account so I know where we're going to get food and where we're going to do this. Well, I don't, because I know that God's going to put whatever in our path that we need. He'll always provide. Now, sometimes things are looking a little lean and we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. We get by, but it's not fun. It's certainly not glamorous. There are times of feasting and times of famine. And, however God works that out, he works that out. And he always finds way to bring that glory. Sometimes it's a job opportunity that pops up. Sometimes it's a donation that's made. Sometimes it's something that we're able to sell. Sometimes it's, there's always random things that just pop up and happen. And we do that. And it always works out. And I don't, could you view it as a genie in a bottle? Yeah, you could. You're probably going to be sorely disappointed, but you could. If that's what you really wanted to do. I don't whatsoever. The prosperity gospel is disgusting. And that idea that the more you give, the more you'll be blessed. And, Joyce Meyer and Beth Moore and Joel Osteen and all those other fools are over there with their millions upon millions, where poor widows are literally starving to death because they're giving all their money trying to receive blessing. I'm not giving my money away trying to receive blessing. I give generously because we're all called to be generous givers. I am happy to give away any excess we have. We try to be very frugal stewards. We take care of what we need to take care of, and we are happy to give in any instance that we can give, be it of our time, of our money, of our home, of our possessions, whatever it may be. We're happy to do it because we're all called to be generous givers. But I'm not giving to try to get more. I'm giving because I'm called to be a generous giver. And if the Lord has given it to me, then I want to pass that on in service to him. And if I get no reward for it, that's fine. Like, let eternity be its reward. I'm not looking for anything. And that's, I think, the big difference between that. Did that answer that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
So
did I answer all of it? Or is there more?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that no matter where you build physical reassurance, there are always natural disasters that could come and annihilate everything that you have planned.
Yep.
If you logistically plan for fires, a flood could wipe out your house because you're not flood proof.
You're fireproof.
You're fireproof.
Yeah.
But floods are different. And so you're not actually like walling yourself off from all of the insecurities. You've only actually put your mental security into something. And we're not supposed to put our mental security into things. We're supposed to put our mental security in God. Like, Christ is supposed to be where your security lies. That's what your peace comes from, a higher place, not of your physical things. Personally, we've had all kinds of very strange things happen, and I've had to start life over multiple times. And it doesn't matter how prepared I am for it. It's still like starting over, and it's still doing it over again. And I still have to build it up, and I have to do the things because nothing here is promised. Banks fail. Natural disasters happen.
Secure jobs can be lost in a moment.
Like, they can.
Yeah.
it happens that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not bad to invest in those things, because we have to live here in this time, and we have to trudge through. But if we put all of our security and all of our mental security into these physical things that fail, God is not getting the just due that he deserves, because he's actually the one in control of it all. And we're giving, how the buck stops here.
Yeah.
We're saying that it stops here at like the banks,
Yeah.
or the food security, or the medical system. The buck stops at the top.
Yeah.
Like that's a higher, it's so much bigger than medical systems. So I also I'm the genie in the bottle. Man, my genie is not popping out when I rub, like, what is happening? Why doesn't my genie do this?
Do some people treat it that way? Yes,
Yeah.
some people do. And they're usually sorely disappointed, or then start trusting in a system that's not actually God in any way, shape, or form. But if that's the case, if that's what it's supposed to be, then I got a defective genie as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's it's and again, that's why I just keep referencing George Mueller, because to me, it was just such a deep heart moment when we said, okay, let's do this. And it's like, I mean, that's why I used to share Living by Faith updates like weekly, because it was like, I don't know how else to explain this other than to just tell you what I'm seeing. Like, I pulled up and read my bank. I mean, I'm not going to show you guys on the screen because my info is on there, but like, I pulled up and read to you our bank account. The only person who actually has money in our family right now would be our son, because he got money for his birthday just recently and he hasn't spent it. I'll be honest and say that sometimes the provision is, hey buddy, can I borrow $40 and I'll pay you back? Or like, he'll see something that's in need. He's that way though too. He'll see something and he'll say, hey mom, somebody needs that, give them my birthday money. Like, that's a need that needs to be felt or needs to be met, so he feels very called to like, just give it. They need it. Like, I don't need it more than that. Like, let it be a blessing. But yeah, sometimes it looks like, hey kid, can I borrow $40 and I'll pay you back when I get it? Like we need to go get this. And he's like, yeah, sure. No problem. Right. That's a provision.
It's just not met in a normal way. Yeah. Okay. This one's very, very off topic from the last one.
I kind of like the shifting gears as we go. I think it's kind of fun.
Well, it makes it so that it doesn't get too heavy in one spot. And then like, okay, I actually know that you've dealt with this recently. So it's very appropriate. Somebody asked how to discuss or address with children when there's a loss of a pet.
Oh.
And how do you address that whole death of a pet situation with a young child?
So death is hard across the board. We shared in our, part of the frugal conversation, but we shared in one of the episodes, I don't know which one, of these chatty coffee dates about, what do we do, with as far as vet treatment for animals and stuff like that. And I shared that, when we take on these things, we know that the reality is sometimes it's difficult and we have to take those responsibilities. We just lost our turkey last week before. Friday. Thank you. See,
you lost turkey on Friday.
Yeah. And it's Brandon's birthday. That's why. Yeah, it's my husband's birthday. We go down. We're trying to hurry, get our chores done. Turkey had been sick. We had been caring for the turkey. He seemed like he was doing so much better. And we were like, yes, like he's pulling through. And I know it's just a turkey, but to us, our turkeys are very special, you guys. So like, I get this isn't like a beloved dog, but like this was turkey.
This is an appropriate situation because it's different levels of like, you're right. It's not like your daughter's cat.
Right.
But it is a pet that I've watched your children literally pick up and tote around because it's turkey.
Yes. Yes.
So
deep affection for this bird. We have been nursing this bird back to health. We have been tending to it day in and day out. I mean, doing all kinds of gross jobs, right, to take care of this turkey. My husband's birthday, he just woke up and we're like, stay in the room. Let us go do the chores really, really quick. And we want to surprise him and do his whole birthday thing and the whole thing, right? His 40th birthday. We're so excited. We run down there. We're like, come on, guys, hurry, hurry, hurry. My 5-year-old goes out into the pen where the birds are. Mom, 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 I hear, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm trying to like get through the sheep, get through the dogs, get through the fencing, get over to where it is. We've lost. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. My brother just texted me. I thought I'm hearing like rumbling of like a severe thunderstorm outside. And I'm like, this is really weird. Like what's going on? But that's why I turned my head a minute ago. I'm like, I feel like that's thunder. My brother just texted me. They're literally getting hail at his work on the other side of town. So if a tornado siren goes off in a minute, we'll just know what we're doing. But sorry, I'm like, that's just a weird. She goes out there, turkey is passed. It's awful. I mean, it really does stink to the point that my precious Olivia, 5 years old, when we were done, because then the one kid went up and had to get my husband, and then he comes out and we're like, happy birthday, honey, I'm so sorry. And we're trying to figure it out and what happened. And it was awful. And Olivia goes, Mom, can we just pretend like this didn't happen so that we can go have a good day with Daddy and then we'll, have to deal with this later? And I was like, yes, sweetie, we can go pretend so we can have good morning. And then I kid you not, she goes down the chickens. Like we saw the chickens like grieving. They literally were like laying around the pen where turkey had been. It was the saddest thing ever. And Olivia goes down with Lily the next day. Can you hear this thunder? I don't know if you can hear it, but it is like booming out there and leaves are like flying past my window right now. Olivia and Lily go down to the barn the next day, and Olivia goes, because we got 2 new turkey babies on Friday after that happened. We got 2 new turkey babies. My husband was like, let's get some more turkeys. So the next day, Olivia's down there in the barn with Lily, and she goes, it's okay. Turkey didn't die. He's just a little baby again. And Lily goes, Olivia, what are you doing? Like, honey, turkey died. I'm so sorry, but like he did die. And Olivia goes, no, Lily. She whispers it to her. She goes, no, Lily. It's for the chickens because they're sad. Let's just tell them it's okay. He didn't die. He's just a little baby again. And Lily went, oh my goodness. Like, we don't teach our kids reincarnation. That's not how it works. But that was her like little baby brain of like, I'm going to tell them that it's okay so that they don't have to be sad. And she goes, see chickens, it's okay. Turkey didn't die. He's just a little baby again. Like he'll be back down here with you soon. Cause right now he's in the brooder box. And we were like, so yes, just been dealing with this over at our house. And yes, we've dealt with it with our beloved dog and beloved cats and things. We have dealt with it with more than just a turkey. I'm not saying that this is like the end all be all, but we're very upfront and honest with our kids. And part of that is being upfront and honest with, well, yes, we love our pets and they are wonderful. They're animals. They're not the same as humans. And so while we can be sad and we can grieve, absolutely. I've cried over quite a few animals, and I'm not a person who just cries over things, right? Like, but yes, it's a grief. They are animals, and that's life, and that's what happens. And I don't think it's unkind to be honest with our kids. And it's fine to grieve and it's fine to miss things, but to still understand the difference between life, because there is a difference. There just is. You can't biblically get away from that. And to know that we can be sad and we can miss them, but we know that God's got it. And we thank the Lord for that blessing of that animal and that time that we got together. And we know that God is sovereign and he knows all, and he knows the best. And so if that was the time, then that was the time. And is there a lesson or something that we can learn from it? Sometimes there isn't, but sometimes there is. And, I think that then leads, will we see our animals again in heaven? Well, I don't know, because they don't have souls. So they're not people, right? There's a difference. Souls go to heaven. Animals don't have souls. But then we also see animals, right? Jesus comes in riding on a horse. We see these different things. So could there still be animals in heaven? Well, there's going to be animals on the new earth. Like there are going to be animals. Will they be the same animals? I don't know. But I know that God's got it, and he's our heavenly Father, and he knows us and our desires more than anyone else. And he's got the best of the best laid out. So if it's not my same animal, like our beloved dog, like Lola, I could go down all kinds of animals we've lost that were heartbreaking. Maybe I don't get them back, but I promise you whatever I'm going to get is going to be even better, and I'm not going to be missing what I didn't get. So, yeah, you can't go to scripture and say, "Oh, yep, animals will be in heaven." But you also really can't go and say, "Well, no, absolutely without a shadow of a doubt, we won't have animals," because we will. We come in riding horses. Like there's at least horses, right? There's at least something. So we're going to see things. Will it be the same ones we've lost? I don't know. None of us know. And we tell our kids that. I don't know. I kind of hope so. That would be great. But I trust God, and I know God's got it. So instead of making an idol out of the pet, I'm going to know that God's going to give us the best. And whatever that is, I'm happy with. So, yeah.
I think it's a lesson in humans don't control where souls go.
Mm-hmm.
And that with a child, you have to explain that people come and go.
Yeah.
And in the same way that people come and go, animals come and go. And when you move, you move away from people, and you don't get to control their souls. And I think it's a lesson in that you don't get to control it, and that it is a higher control, and that God really is the end all be all, and you don't get a say.
Mm-mm.
Love people, love animals while you have them.
Yeah. And it's a blessing. I think loss is something to be honest about, and it's difficult, and it doesn't mean that we don't grieve, but it's part of the life. It's part of the sinful fallen nature that we live in. And it's part of why we put our hope in Jesus. That promise of redemption, that promise of eternal life, that promise of all of that is why we live for Christ every day. And I think that dealing with loss and difficult times and all of that, it's just more opportunity to dive into scripture, to grow in our faith, to grow in our trust, and to understand why it matters how we live our lives here for Christ.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It all points back to the same stuff, just over and over again.
Over and over, in every situation.
We're not in control. God is. You have to put your faith and trust completely in him, that he has your best interest in mind, and that everything that you do should just bring glory back to
Yep.
Yeah. Like it's,
in the easy stuff, but in the hard stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would love to hear more about your thoughts on outward appearances of women, such as only wearing skirts, not wearing makeup, not cutting your hair. What do you think about 1 Corinthians 11:13 through 15? Is it a sin for women to cut their hair? Since God created us in his image, is it a sin for us to change outward things about ourselves? What rules do scriptures lay out for us in this regard?
It's funny, as I was thinking about what videos I'm going to work on next.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was thinking of like a modesty the outward stuff. I was thinking about doing hair for this next week because I was trying to work on some things. So again, if that's something y'all will be interested in, I think I can work on that. But okay, what was the first question in that? Because I know there's a few and I'm getting yeah.
Okay. So it's the first question mark. What do you think about 1 Corinthians 11:13 through 15?
All right. So
is it a sin for women to cut their hair? I think is what it directly relates with that verse.
Okay. So 13 through 15 says, judge for yourselves. Is it proper for a wife to pray to God with her head uncovered? We're going to be doing a head covering one here soon. Mm-hmm. Does not nature itself teach you that if a man wears long hair, it is a disgrace for him, but if a woman has long hair, it is her glory, for her hair is given to her for a covering. So that verse there actually kind of answers itself. Our hair is our covering. They were dealing with, we'll get into that in the video. It's a whole thing. But it doesn't mean that a woman can never cut her hair. The point that Paul is talking about there is that naturally, men look one way and women look another way. So when you see, like, men have always tended to keep their hair a little bit shorter, right? Whereas women usually will grow theirs out and it's so pretty and, we'll do all of our things and fuss with our hair. So does it mean that women can never cut their hair? No. It means that women should look like women and men should look like men. Okay. Because even then, right, I think it's funny. Some people get weird about hair, but then all of these made up pictures of Jesus that we have, he's got like shoulder length hair. So it's like, well, is shoulder length hair okay? Right. Like you could go into that for days. But the point is, men look like men and women look like women. So can women cut their hair? Yes, you can cut your hair, but you should still look like a woman. What is something that we see with lesbians, right? There's usually one partner in the relationship that will choose to cut her hair more so like a man. Why does that happen? Well, because one usually picks one look and one picks another look, right? We can see this all over the place, and there's so much that goes into this. It's not that we can cover it all in the 10 minutes we have left here. But the point is, women trying to be men and changing their appearances to do such. I know this was one of the questions in this, but I just glanced at comments last night just to see if there's anything that stood out at me. And one person asked me, how could I call myself a Christian if I wore pants?
I totally saw that. And I was,
Mm-hmm. And they said, I was just some video. I don't even know what the video was. The question didn't have anything to do with the video, but I was wearing pants in the video. So they said, how on earth could I call myself a Christian if I was wearing pants? Guys, we have to understand the root here. And when we're just getting stuck at the superficial stuff, we're never getting to the root of the matter. When we try to dress as the gender we are not, men dressing as women, women dressing as men, the problem with that, the root problem with that is that you are denying God's created order. That's the problem. So it's not that transgenderism is the problem. Transgenderism is the result of the problem. The problem is that you're denying God's created order. Men are men. They look like men. They act like men. They have specific duties, specific roles, specific things. Women are women. And they look like women and they dress like women. They have specific roles, specific things, right? God has a perfectly created system. And when we deny that, it's not that we're just, like, that's why I hate people, telling me I have to be a homemaker. No, God said home has to be your first priority if you're a woman that professes Christ, because that's his created order and it works together perfectly. I saw a report. It must be because of I clicked on the Britney Spears thing to see what that was for the video we did yesterday. And then I see this Julia Roberts quote popped up on my thing. Her talking about how happy she's been to have left Hollywood and be at home. And she loves nothing more than caring for her family and making meals and cleaning the house and just serving her family. And how out of all the success that she has had in her life, not a professing Christian, not any of this, she's never found more depth and meaning to her existence than getting to be a wife and a mom. Wild, right? So I think it's just funny when you see that, but that's the point of it. Can women wear pants in a way that they're trying to be men and their heart issue is they're trying to deny God's created order? Yes, absolutely. They can do that. If I put on a pair of jeans, am I doing that? No. I'm wearing appropriate fashion for my culture, not fashion in the way, but appropriate dress for my culture of what is made for a woman. I wear women's pants. I've bought men's sweats before because I like them. They're baggier and they're not as like, oh, women's stuff is so clingy that I'll sometimes go pick up men's stuff because it's looser. I feel like it's more modest. Yeah, but I'm not doing it to try to be a man. I'm doing it to find something more modest for me as a woman in a sinful culture. Women look like women and men look like men. It's that simple. That's what the heart of the matter is here. So my hair looks very differently than my husband's. Now I do cut my hair. My hair is longer because my husband likes longer hair, but could I cut it shorter? I could, as long as I still look like a woman and I'm not denying God's created order. Does that mean if a woman has chemo and loses her hair that she's now? No, right? What's that heart root there? She didn't shave her head to try to be a man. She shaved her head because she's going through chemo. It's that big difference there. And I think it's understanding that. Can women wear makeup? Sure, you can wear makeup. I wear makeup. But what's the heart issue there, right? Is it a vanity? I have to look this way. I have to do this. You can't see the real me. No, my husband likes it when I wear a little makeup and I put myself together. So I wear a little makeup and I put myself together. I went for a long period not wearing any makeup. And then to be honest, I started wearing makeup because I was pregnant with our fourth child and I started feeling insecure because I've got like teen pregnancy PTSD. And so anytime I'm pregnant, I start to feel really insecure that people are going to think awful things about me, whatever. It's a whole different topic. I know, but it's a problem that I've had to deal with. And so I started wearing some makeup when I'd go to my doctor's appointments because I get really self-conscious. And my husband was like, what are you doing getting dressed up to go to a doctor's appointment? And I told him I felt really self-conscious. And then he said, I kind of like when you get dressed up a little bit. And I was like, oh, maybe I should do it for my husband because my husband enjoys it and not because of an insecurity. Right? Like you go through this thing, but that's why I'm happy to show up on camera, sick, no makeup, all the different things, because that's not what matters. I put on a little bit of makeup each day. It's not very much, but I put on a little bit, but I will happily show up, get on camera to the world, do anything with no makeup because that heart issue isn't there. So that's where you have to go, ooh, do you have to wear this makeup? Nobody can see you until you have your face on, right? And like all the things. My mother-in-law to this day, the woman has Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's. And the first thing we get out of her mouth, oh, sorry, I don't have lipstick on. I could care less about your lipstick, lady. I love you. I want to spend time with you. I don't care about your lipstick, right? But isn't it so funny that even still with everything she's going through in her sickness, she's like, my lipstick. So that's where we have to stop. We have to go, what's the root there? Right? Is it wrong to dye your hair? No. But then if it's a heart issue that you have to have your hair dyed, you have to, that's where we're getting to have an issue. And so are you embracing your femininity? Are you embracing that God designed you as a woman and he designed you as that for a reason? And that means certain things. And that's beautiful. And that glorifies God through your embracing that. Are you trying to be a man? Are you trying to do this? Are you trying to do that? Well, then that's an issue. And that's something that has to be addressed. So yeah, I mainly wear dresses. I mainly wear dresses because that's my husband's preference. And then it's kind of nice because you look super put together and it took like no effort whatsoever and it's way more comfortable. So I found some benefits after it as well. But I started doing it because my husband preferred it. My husband's always preferred it and I always ignored him because I was like, that's dumb. I'm a jeans and t-shirt gal. But then it was like, ooh, see, we uncovered a heart issue. It was me going, yeah, cool story. I like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So when I read the question and you were reading 1 Corinthians, I know I'm a lady and I'm supposed to intake the lady information, but I heard all of it.
Right.
And my brain went, how do guys live by this?
Mm-hmm.
It says that their hair is to be always cut. Well, how long is too long then? What does always cut mean? Does that mean that every day they have to get up and cut their hair?
Right.
If a rule, because I'm applying
military style, right?
Yes. I'm applying it like rules. And if this is a very specific set of rules that God has given us, women should not cut their hair and men should cut their hair.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the rule, okay, I'll live by that. What does it mean for ladies and what does it mean for men? Well, what does always cut your hair mean? How can you always cut your hair? That's not possible. So it can't be a literal thing where we take it as a literal thing in American English, because it's not.
So when you see these movements where women now have uncut hair and never cut, well, no, it says to have your hair long, but right, like, because are the men at the same time cutting their hair every day?
Yeah. Like,
and is it just a 24-hour window? Is it a 72-hour window? Like, what's the window?
If there are rules that are set in stone, like rules, they should be set in stone like rules. And it should give me very specifics that it says like 24-hour period. It should say something like that, more specific. And if it doesn't,
think that Paul would follow up with that in other areas to say, see, remember where I told you it has to be. And that's the part where it's like when we get to this passage, and we're going to cover this when we do head coverings, because you get to this passage and people get really, really wonky over it and really worked up over it. And I understand, but it's like, okay, hold on. Totality, context. He's writing a letter to certain people at a certain place at a certain time. We're reading the mail. Now we can learn from it, yes, but we have to understand the context, that it's a specific letter addressing specific problems that a specific church was specifically having in a time and a place, right? Like all of that. So then you start digging into what was going on in that place. What was that church dealing with? What was going on? Well, we can tell you what was going on. Like we can look historically. Oh, so there was the island of Lesbos and this was happening and that was happening. And then people were coming in. And then what do I do? Because I was living for the world and I was shaving my head and trying to look like a man and do all of these different things. And now I've come to Christ and I'm embarrassed because I've done all of this. And how do I, right? Like you can break down all of that. And the heart of the matter, the root that all of this comes down to, especially when we take all of Scripture in context and lay it all out, God has a created order. Men, specific gifts, specific talents, specific roles, responsibilities, and look. Women, specific gifts, specific roles, specific responsibilities, roles, looks, all of it. Women are women, men are men. And when we embrace that, we're embracing God's design and desire for us. And so if it was women are to never, ever cut their hair under any circumstance, I have a feeling we'd be a little more clear here, right? You'd be able to see it at least somewhere else in Scripture. If it was men are to be shaving their heads every single day, pretty sure we'd see, oh, that's it, right? It is not by works that we are saved, but it is understanding that as a woman, I've been designed by the Creator in a specific way, and I embrace that femininity. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a girly girl. Like, I think some people hear that and they're like, oh, well, I have to, like, everything's pink and fluffy and frilly. I wouldn't consider myself that. Pretty much everything I own is black. Just saying. I'm wearing dark green today to try to mix it up a little bit. You've got mustard over black, so I wouldn't say that. But I'm still embracing my femininity because I'm embracing the Creator. I'm embracing His design for me. Just as my husband is far more emotional and sensitive than I could ever hope to be. My husband can cry at the drop of a hat. He is far more emotional, touchy-feely, all of the stuff than me. But he still embraces his manhood, and I still embrace my femininity. Even if we don't maybe fit the mold like one might think.
So I know you guys. Brandon is so much more emotional than you. 100 million gagillion %.
Like it's truly an issue that I have to actively work on.
Yes. Yeah. But I would never in a million years say that Brandon is not masculine and that you are not feminine.
Yeah.
I would never confuse those, ever. My husband decided to grow out his hair, and he has quite long hair now. It's at least shoulder length.
Yeah.
It's very curly, and he pulls it back.
Well, because we made fun of we made Bob Ross jokes for so long because it was so curly, but now it's so long that like Bob Ross doesn't even work anymore, right?
No,
like
he's got
the Bob Rossness.
He's got this, like, he never knew what his hair looked like because he'd always like shaved his head, right? And so he let it grow out. I got sick and I couldn't cut his hair, so we let it grow out. There is nobody who would look at my husband with his very long hair and go, "That's a lady."
Yeah.
He happens to have a very large beard and mustache, and like he's very masculine.
But there are definitely times you run into people and you go,
yes.
"Oh, I thought you were a lady."
Yes.
My daughter, Olivia, asked me the other day, she saw someone, she goes, "Mom, is that a boy or a girl?" And I was like, I don't know. That's the problem, right? That's the denial of the creator and his order.
It's so interesting. I think that all of today's Chatty Coffee Date can be summarized into God is in control. His order and design is the correct way. And if we would just go with that, in like, God gives it to you and you need to use it to your best ability. Steward well, people, like,
in every way.
All of it. Just steward well.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And I think these are some great questions. And yes, I would love, I do want to dig more into just modesty and dress, head covering specifically, because that's a whole conversation we do just in and of itself. And then I brought it up the other day, and I'm going to say it again, but I'm thinking that what if we did, I don't know, what if we took like maybe a week to do it or something, but just to really dig into what it means to dig in to scripture. Because that's what it is, right? How I read that, it's like there's this one verse we always cling to and go, head covering. But it's like, well, what does the verse after it say? What does the chapter say in context? What does the book say, right? Like you go and it's like, oh, questions answered.
Right. If you go back one verse, it's it's not like a rule set, because if it were a rule set, he would be giving rules, like specific checklists to everybody. And it's not a checklist for the men. So it shouldn't be a checklist for me. It should just be more of a guideline.
Context, right? But it is. And but I get that it's intimidating. Well, how do I start studying scripture? How do I understand it? Like, I think we should take like a whole week or something and
I love it.
Really dig into that, because it is so important. But hopefully those helped. I mean, at least starting the conversation. I know we need to continue on more, but hopefully those can be a help. And you guys, please leave us questions, right? Put your little coffee cup. Next week, we will be doing Halloween specifically. So I'll put out some posts. We'll put out some things for specific Halloween questions. But feel free to ask any other questions down below. So the first Saturday of every month is the private live Q&A. So if you guys want to join our membership group, not only do you get access to our private community and all of our series that we do and all kinds of private websites and class pages. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there now. I don't even know how many there are anymore. There's so many. So we've got that study, and you guys can sign up and you can get into the live Q&As, which I'm super excited. Just getting to have that like back and forth with everyone as we're going is, I think, super fun. So we have that the first Saturday of each month. We're going to be doing a rapid fire the second Saturday of each month. While I set off my computer. There we go. So the second Saturday is rapid fire, which I'm excited about. And rapid fire for me, I know somebody was like, this isn't very rapid fire. I'm like, hey, it's rapid fire for me. Okay. So just take it. But that's kind of what we have up on our schedule. We've got some really fun things that we've been working on that I am super duper excited to share with you guys. Look at so happy. So super excited for all of that stuff, but you guys are the best. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for our chatty coffee, tea date, whatever it is that you're drinking. And super, super excited for all the things that we're working on, for all the new faces around here. Leave us your questions down below. I hope this at least was, I know so many of you kind of watch this while you're doing your cleaning or whatever for the day. So hopefully you guys enjoyed kind of hanging out with us today. And we look forward to seeing you, of course, each Saturday for these. And then, you know, I'll be seeing you every day with the videos coming out. So thanks for hanging out with us, friends. We will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.